Welcome back into the Cardinals Squad Show. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show, host of Locked On Phoenix Suns. Could the Arizona Cardinals actually take Ty Simpson at 3 plus his pro day review? We're going to discuss it.
Jamil Douglas, former NFL offensive lineman. If they do take Ty Simpson at 3, what really is going to happen?
Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. We're less than 30 days out from the draft, but what do we know? What can we believe? Really, what are we doing here, guys? Let's get it. Hit the button, Ben. Hit it.
Rise
Hit
up, Red Sea. It's the Cardinals Squad. Everything Arizona Cardinals every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Valley of the Sun. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Gear up and squad up. The Cardinals Squad Show starts now.
What's up? Welcome back to the Cardinals Squad Show. Do us a favor, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all social media platforms down in the episode description below. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download or during the tournament, FanDuel is offering $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. We're going to talk a lot about Ty Simpson today. He is the hot topic of discussion, and I know that I shouldn't feel this way, but I can't believe it has gotten even further. And what I mean by that is there has been mocks, there has been reports about the Cardinals, sounds like affinity for Ty Simpson, so much so that people have speculated post-pro day, which we talked about this propaganda that would probably happen at his pro day, at potentially number 3. Clancy, I'll throw it to you first. Ty Simpson at number 3. We are talking about this, and I never thought we would. But even more than that, from what you saw at his pro day, and I'm not sure how much you watched of it, did you see anything where you're like, oh, I didn't know that he could do X, Y, Z?
If instead of pro days, they did open gym and you had 10 college football players play basketball, you'd find out more about him then than at his pro day where he's wearing shorts and flip-flops pretty much. For me, we saw this coming. Couple months, Ty Simpson is going to be a first-round pick. This was 2 months before this whole thing happened. It happens every offseason. The problem is, Ben, and for those who don't know, Charles Davis, well-respected guy, CBS now, he put out a mock. He said the Cardinals were going to take Ty Simpson at 3. The problem is, Benjamin, Jamil, the best way for the Cardinals to get back into relevancy fastest is if they draft Ty Simpson and it works, because they're a year ahead of everybody else. That is, by and large, the longest shot without a second, without a potential second fiddle there from happening. But if they take him and it works, you have $200 million to spend, you have all your draft picks, and you could trade back as much as you want. But in real life terms, this could be a real nightmare that only bad teams do.
Yeah, it definitely could. And what surprised me is from his pro day, if we want to talk about that, all 32 teams were present. That to me was one of the big shockers, because not all 32 teams need a quarterback, but everyone wants to see. There must be talk around the league that there's a real possibility that Ty Simpson goes at number 3 to the Cardinals. And so I think everyone wanted to see, is this a legit number 3 overall pick, or is this just a case of there being a weak quarterback draft? And so some of it, he was 50 of 55 on his pass attempts and completed 23 of his first 24. Do with that what you will. Like I said, I don't put too much stock in the pro day thing. I think like Clancy said, we would have got a better feel if this was basketball, we would get a better feel. So I'm not putting too much stock in it, but I do think it's interesting that, a lot of teams came out, because that means that there is a buzz around the league that, this guy could potentially be the number 3 overall pick.
So
yeah,
I'm sorry. Because I'm curious. I want to stop you right there, because I want to ask you this question. Yeah. I thought you were going to go this way, which is the way I was going to go with it. The fact that every team was present, that actually told me that they're not sure if he's a first-round pick. Like teams like the Rams, right? Who, like, if they think he's potentially going to go 3, I don't think that they show up to that. I think that they're there for maybe a different reason. It tells me that actually a team in the back end of the first round feels like, oh, this guy might fall to us. Let's be there. Or maybe it's skepticism of like, really no one knows where he's going to be. He could be a third overall pick, or he could be 25.
Yeah, I think, look, I think you could slice it both ways, right? How I look at it is there are teams doing their due diligence, and that's to see is the arm talent there? What's the footwork? What's the accuracy look like? Those things are what, to me, I think teams are going to see up and close and in person. So I think it's more of them checking a box in terms of, is this guy a legit first round quarterback?
Yeah. And I mean, you look at it, and before we get into the rabbit hole of, hey, this is good for the Cardinals because a team might trade up to 3 if they think they're going to take them, and we go through this whole circus. There is no team drafting behind the Cardinals that absolutely 100% need a quarterback this year. The Jets are drafting ahead of them. They drafted 16. They're not going to trade up. Cleveland is drafting at 6. They have Shedeur Sanders. They're not going to take Ty Simpson at 6. They have so many other needs. So it's
they have a lot of money wrapped up at quarterback too.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's not like there's 4 or 5 teams that are quarterback needy right behind the Cardinals where it's like, hey, you can kind of leverage this. Move down 4 picks, still take your draft guy and maybe get a second rounder this year. That's not this. Now, the Rams are interesting because what if the Rams take him at 13?
The Rams are in an interesting. They do need a quarterback.
They don't need to get younger. You want to draft Malachi Lemon. You want to draft Jordan Tyson. That's fine. Devontae Adams not getting any older. But if you want to Aaron Rodgers this and draft him, Matthew Stafford's not going to be there for more than 2 years. Like, it could be mid-first round from a contender who's going to draft him. The Cardinals are not a contender. The Cardinals are drafting 3, and they have zero value in leveraging that they're going to draft him at 3, even if they're not going to, which sucks.
Is it fair to make any sweeping, by the way, just really quickly, if he did went to the Rams, that's the type of team right there where you say to yourself, oh, okay, that makes sense. They've got the structure, they've got the coach, they've got the front office, they've got the pieces around them. It's very like Baker Mayfield-esque, where he doesn't have to do everything. He just needs to run Sean McVay's offense, which will determine like how good is he in the whiteboard, how good is he getting out information. If that's the case, that works there. It's like the polar opposite of what I've argued about with the Cardinals. It's just too many deficiencies that I think he has to cover up. But it is the quickest way for the Arizona Cardinals to get better. This is the other thing, because I saw some opinions on this, and I won't name names because I don't want to name drop anyone, but people were like, well, wow, this guy could throw the ball further than I thought. Is it fair, Jamil, to make any sweeping decisions one way or another about any player at a pro day? And what I mean by that is let's just take the Ty Simpson arm strength thing. Wow, I didn't know he could throw the ball that far. Is it fair to make the grand sweeping decisions off of a pro day alone?
No, we all remember Jamarcus Russell, right?
I was just gonna say.
Let's just. That is why I don't put a lot of stock in these things. I mean, we have plenty quarterbacks that could go out there and throw the ball 70, 80 yards right now. Of course, I might be able to get you 60 just off, the shoulder might not be well afterwards, but I might be able to get out there and wheel around and throw for 60, Nobody wants to see that, but it's just look, no, the answer is no. Don't put too much stock in it. We can reference Jamarcus Russell. We can reference a Zach Wilson. We can reference a lot of guys that have, wild on their pro day. But hey,
what can you confirm then? Like, is pro days really just confirmed?
Mechanics. Okay. From if I'm a offensive mind, even if I'm a defensive minded head coach, I can confirm the mechanics of a guy, his footwork, his arm angle. Can he throw a sidearm? Can he, is his arm angle high enough to get over offensive linemen? Like, what does it look like on his footwork on a 3-step drop versus a 5-step drop? Like, they're getting really technical, in my opinion. I could care less if, the receiver 50 yards down the field catches the ball with no one guarding him. Like, that does not, there's no one that's walking away from that and was like, yeah, he looked really good throwing that 50-yarder. There's guys in the league that can throw the 50-yarder with no one on the field. So to me, this is all about, like I said, checking a box. mechanics, what he looks like throwing different timing routes and things like that, although it's different in a game, I can see, is he balanced? Does he throw off the proper foot? And what does his arm look like, doing these type of things?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, pro days are much more important for, pass rushers, wide receivers, when you're actually running routes, you're doing, footwork drills, offensive linemen, things like that, where there's actual metrics of what you're going to be doing in a game. Quarterback's going to be standing behind the line. I don't care how long you can throw the ball. It's a Zach Wilson effect more than anything now. It's like Zach Wilson was the number 2 overall pick because of one throw. He faded away one time, threw it across his body on the nose to a wide receiver for a touchdown when nobody else was on the field.
And everyone said, whoa.
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's not it.
Give me a chance to train for that. I guarantee I'll give you one of those.
I'll give you what? Yeah, and with quarterback stuff, with the lunacy that is taking part with the Cardinals taking a quarterback at 3, it's unfortunate because I could see the Cardinals talking themselves into it.
Oh my God.
You could see it. You could see it. And we're going to do a really fun exercise next segment on if they do take him, what it's going to look like the rest of the draft.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to give you a little precursor right now.
Mm-hmm.
They better go full steam ahead and trade for players, do all of these things, because listen, the only thing they can't do is draft a quarterback at 3 and draft a quarterback in the top 10 next season. So if Ty Simpson's your guy and they choose that, you can slow the hell down. You've got your quarterback for the next 4 years. That's the decision they have to make. And if it works, again, Monty Usfort's winning GM of the year in 2 years. They're talking deep playoff run because you're able to fill out the rest of the roster because you have the quarterback. But it is so far-fetched that would actually come to fruition.
So okay. Before we get there, so why is he moving up the draft board? Like, why? Okay,
boredom.
So, and I'm not saying
boredom, dude.
Okay.
All Every year someone does this.
Boredom.
But okay. So when you say boredom, though, Clancy, and I think I know where you're getting with this, but I want to get it out of you just so people know it. Is it boredom from writers, like, oh, this would be kind of fun, or is it boredom from the Cardinals staring at something for too long and saying,
no? This is outside stuff. This is all these mocks and everything. Like when we do the what can we believe now? It's going to be a short segment. This is all outside stuff. And you can look at it a couple different ways. If this becomes a trend, like Jeremiah Love was mocked there for like 3 dudes, like in 1 week, and then it's gone. If this becomes a trend, that's where you watch out. This is all people throwing stuff at a wall. It's a great talking point, but really it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But this is the time of year where it's like after Christmas and before New Year's when nobody knows what day it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's right now until the draft. Everything is upside down. We have no idea until like a week and a half left before the draft. I mean, Jamil, this isn't even over analysis. This is people throwing bleep at a wall and having conversations about it.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, them taking, I mean, I'll save it till the next segment, but yes, I agree with Clancy and we'll talk about what if they take him at number 3, but I agree wholeheartedly with Clancy.
Before we get there, because we're going to take that segment down. Okay, they got him. Now what? Not like they got him, burned the whole team to the ground. The Cardinals have been operating. Like, remember when I was upset because I didn't love free agency and you guys were like, Ben, quit being a child, eat your vegetables. We're going to be okay. And I'm like, okay, fine. We're doing that.
Next show.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing that. Fine, right? We're going to be the team
you
that
still
eats our
need
vegetables.
to eat your vegetables, by the way.
More than just peas and carrots too. You need the deep greens.
Getting a quarterback at 3 feels desperate. Could we agree that it feels desperate, or would that be wrong? Okay,
I don't think desperate's the word. I think it's a clear direction on where they think the next 5 years are going to go for this organization. It is going to be a conscious decision. They're running unopposed. Nobody was going to draft Kyler Murray in the top 5, but they drafted him. Nobody's drafting Ty Simpson, and nobody's trading up for Ty Simpson in the top 5. This is a clear direction that they think their scouting is good enough to make him look like they're a year ahead of the curve where they can completely explode in 2027. It's going to be nothing else. There's no pressure. This is a uniform, singular decision that's going to be made.
It's only because the Cardinals are at number 3 that we're even having this discussion.
Well,
That's
no,
it.
if they were at 15, Well, Kyler would probably be back if they were at 15. So
Sure.
that's probably a
Yeah.
moot point.
Exactly. It's only because it's the quarterback needy Cardinals.
It has
Yep.
a really good chance from Clancy of being a really good take. I just don't see it because the difference is they operated as if a team that were not desperate, that we're going to play it slow, that we're going to ignore the outside noise. We're not going to sign a singular edge rusher. We're not going to go get a right tackle because we're going to attack that in the draft. Or that's what we were kind of led to. And then, which is why I can't believe that they're going to go Ty Simpson at number 3. And I want to get it out now before we get to the next segment, because then it feels like, okay, you had your direction and then you just switched up to another direction. Like, actually, no, we are ready to compete, or we are ready to be better than we were last year. We're not worried about 2027 because Monty Austin-Ford's got to figure it out now. It just feels like a GM who wasn't operating off of any sort of hot seat to now, okay, your seat's actually warm. And it's just a little confusing.
Well,
Anything to add before I move on?
No, just remember, this is one mock draft from one person a month
True.
before the draft. So it's not until it becomes some sort of thing, it's nothing.
Yeah, and it's not just Charles Davis. I saw a thing today from Daniel Jeremiah. It was like, the Cardinals make a lot of sense. To be fair, he didn't say it number 3.
Yeah.
So it's just the continuously linking of Ty Simpson. Okay, we got it out. If you were upset with Ty Simpson potentially being the 3rd overall pick, it seems like none of us really believe that that's going to happen outside of maybe a crazy outside chance. But we got it out whether we don't like it. What if Ty Simpson is drafted at 3? Like, let's do the thought exercise of, okay, what now? No more complaining and moaning. We're going to talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. And I've got my number 1 overall pick for the 5 Hour Energy Draft. I've told you guys about cherry before, but what about cotton candy? A delicious swirl of sugary clouds, a fruity twist, and a hint of vanilla. Throwback flavor with a boost, light, airy candy profile, nostalgic carnival-style taste, pure sweetness from start to finish, sweet tooth fix without any of the sugar guilt. What about something that maybe you don't get enough of? What about blue raspberry, right? A bright, playful, nostalgic taste, blueberry raspberry candy flavor, a sweet and tangy flavor with a taste that nature couldn't make but should have. Reminiscent of blue slushies or hard candy, a clean, sweet finish. So, 5 Hour Energy give you a boost with zero energy, and 5 Hour Energy has a lot of other upcoming flavor initiatives planned. Find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Okay, let's keep the show rolling now. Let's do this thought exercise. Let's take it for what it is. Roger Goodell's up. He gets booed. The Arizona Cardinals have the 3rd overall pick in the draft. The crowd silence. Quarterback Ty Simpson out of the University of Alabama. He is the Cardinals quarterback 1. We would assume he's starting. What are you doing now, Clancy?
Offensive line in the 2nd round, pass rusher in the 3rd, or defensive tackle in the 3rd. Like, it's something where if it becomes real and that's the future, you need to, I would say you could even go offensive line in the 2nd and 3rd round. Like, this is a situation where you're passing on the top pass rusher and the top offensive lineman to draft a quarterback who's a big question mark. And then it's like, this roster is going to be incomplete in 2026. I would look into trading picks in 2027 for guys. I would look into trading. Everything should be on the table. Everything should be on the table at that point because they've expedited the process by a year, like a calendar year, if they draft a quarterback at 3. So offensive line, D tackle, offensive line, pass rush. But it's like, you're setting Ty Simpson up to not be successful. But the beautiful part about it is, if he's your guy, you ain't got to start him right away. There's no let's see if he's the guy, because if they're drafting him at 3, he's going to be their guy come hell or high water. Jamil, you look like you're going to throw up even talking about this as a possibility.
Yeah, man. I just don't know how to answer this question.
Live in the world that he's the quarterback at 3.
if they take, yeah. So obviously, I agree with you in terms of
come to La La Land.
If they take him at 3, that means you believe that there's an offensive lineman that will be waiting that is a bona fide starter, for your group. So you have to go offensive line after that because you have to address it. They take Ty Simpson at 3. I don't know what else to really say besides this is Mike LaFleur laying on a sword and saying, this is the guy that I believe is the future of the Cardinals. And that's a scary, that's a scary place to be, right? Because we talked about this ad nauseum in terms of this isn't what we typically see from our first round quarterback, especially top 5 picks. This isn't the pre-draft process that we normally see. Normally guys that are being talked about as going number 3, that hype is there during the season, and it's something that they've lived up to the whole time. This is a guy that is going to be walking into a whole different situation. You're now being picked number 3, and you've got to now own up to that as your career begins to start. And so this is a huge risk, and it obviously means that you're missing out on the Reuben Bane Juniors, the if you want to call it the David Baileys, the offensive linemen that are available, Spencer Fanu, Francis Mauinoa. Like you're skipping on these guys to say we believe that this guy is the guy for the future, and I think that is a risky move. I know we all seen Dodgeball. Ben.
No, he hasn't.
I'm gonna act like my headphones don't work.
Bold strategy, Clancy.
Yeah, see if it pays off for him. I sure do like pumpkins.
For him,
sure do like pumpkins.
Yeah.
So Clancy mentioned this.
I cannot believe you haven't seen Dodgeball. What are we doing here?
I haven't seen.
Like you're 13.
It's like so we're. It was like the running joke when I was at Fox Sports 910 too. I hadn't seen any movies. I haven't seen a lot.
Jody's movie taste is also questionable, so I'm not giving you total fault of that. I had to deal with that for a couple years too. Not total fault for that.
So Clancy mentioned something interesting, and Jamil kind of hinted at it too. It was you're going to be passing on the top edge rusher and the top offensive lineman for what is mostly the consensus second best quarterback in what is perceived to be, until this isn't true, a weak quarterback draft. And here's what I'll tell people about that is if they do go Ty Simpson at 3 and it works, no one cares anymore. No one cares that they passed up on the edge rusher. No one cares they passed up on the offensive lineman. No one cares about Monty Austinfort's lack of, let's call it so-so draft history. If they grab him at 3, you are either doing one of two things. You're sitting him for potentially the whole year or 10 weeks or whatever, because it is malpractice to stick him behind this offensive line and allow him to see ghosts on that right side of that offensive line on a 49ers who's got Nick Bosa and maybe Joey Bosa's headed over there. That Seattle Seahawks vaunted defensive line, the Rams defensive line. It is malpractice to stick him back there. You're either A, sitting him the rest of the season, or B, I totally agree with Clancy. Back-to-back offensive lineman picks, like trading up back into the first round to maybe go get Spencer Fanu. You've got to protect the quarterback. And the other thing is, like, depending on what their route is of grabbing him and starting him right away or sitting him, I mean, you're taking some major swings. I'm like calling on an edge rusher. Maybe you're calling on Max Crosby. Again, these aren't things that I would want to do, but if they're going down this route, they're telling you that they think they're close to winning. I'd get another wide receiver. Clancy's going to mention this in the next segment. I'd go get another tight end. You've got to do everything you can to support him on the offensive side of the ball and then make the defense competent. And that means trading some draft picks, scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to become the Wild West if it happens. Now, none of us are saying that this should happen or will happen, but I feel like it's fun to do an exercise where if it does, this is what the landscape's going to look like. Ben has no idea what that means. BA.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
He has nobody.
I honestly thought it was just a like a typo.
Word, Cotton. So here's the thing. This would be either everybody's winning and they're going to win a Super Bowl the next 4 years, or it's going to be another dumb decision made by the front office from the Arizona Cardinals. So I just wanted to do this. Like, it's just to show how it, again, expedites the entirety of the roster building process. So if they do want to trade back and you want to torch your draft picks next year to move up this year,
Yikes.
and whatever it is, do it. If you're drafting Ty Simpson, there should be, like, if you're going to do this, there's no, teetering on the fence. You are jumping completely over. This is the plan, and you are torching future assets to get proven commodities now, or true, and moving up in this draft. You're punting on the 2027 draft, which is set to be one of the most unprecedentedly deep drafts that we've seen in the last 20 years. To draft Ty Simpson, it's going to be incomplete this year regardless, but sweet mother, you better put something together to make this a competent roster sooner than next season. Here's
the question that I think really matters now that we've kind of laid the groundwork, and it sounds like we're all in unison. Like, you got to fix the offensive line. I think is a big one. Here's an interesting, because Jamil mentioned this, but we've kind of all talked about this. This would be a Mike LaFleur pick at 3. Like, this would be Mike LaFleur pounding the table, similar to Joe Shane saying, we got your guy to Brian Dable when they got Jackson Dart. Do you trust Mike LaFleur?
Of course not.
To select the right guy?
No. And this isn't Jackson Dart,
because this would be banking his.
That was mid first round.
No. I'm just saying that it would be like that similar of like the videos that would come out of like, we got your guy, we got him, we trust you. Like, that's what I mean by that. Not the same thing, but just really quickly, Mike LaFleur would be banking his maybe one and only shot as a head coach on Ty Simpson. So that would tell you he's got real conviction behind him. So I'm trying.
A lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
I'm trying to gas up Mike LaFleur here before we just say no, because we have to understand the stakes that would be behind him doing this. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but you still don't trust him to do that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Why not?
I mean, because where's the track record?
What empirical evidence do we have?
Yeah, it's we just ooh and awed over Zach Wilson. He had an opportunity to, and I know the Jets. We all hear about how incompetent the Jets are, but the reality is, you get a shot, and we can judge you off of it. And so, I just, I think the perception is jaded a little bit with Mike LaFleur. And it's not a knock on Mike LaFleur. We can't blame him for where he's been and where his coaching career has taken him. Like, he's got an opportunity to be a head coach, right? But I think it's jaded from a standpoint of it may get a little bit too much credit for the whole Rams thing. This is, guys, Sean McVay is the voice for the Rams. Like, let's not get that twisted. He's the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. I've seen it. I've been in the building, and his voice is the one that is speaking to the quarterback, whether it's in meetings or on the field. And so I think it gets a little jaded. Like, you're expecting this guy to implement as much Sean McVay as he can. But the reality is there's a reason Sean McVay has been as successful, and it's because of who he is. And so I think, there's a little bit of fool's gold. We talked about that a long time ago, fool's gold with this. And you're really hoping that he can do that as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. But not to make it absolute, like, Sean McVay was a child that nobody knew this was coming when he got hired as the head coach. So that's not, obviously, that is the exception. Kyle Shanahan to a certain degree as well. Kevin O'Connell to a lesser degree, but same kind of thing. We've seen the track record, but we've also seen the track record with all the Ohio State wide receivers that have come out until the Cardinals drafted one. So it's like, track records don't matter when it comes to the Cardinals because they've got their own demons to circumvent for some reason. You want to talk aliens? Look at Marvin Harrison Jr. and Garrett Wilson and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Marvin Harrison Jr. was looked at to be the best one, and the ramp-up is taking a little bit longer, okay? Mike LaFleur, this sucks, but it's true. This was an arranged marriage. Nobody wanted this. They both wanted what the Raiders got from both perspectives, okay? So this is an arranged marriage for a first-time guy who might be over his skis a little bit, and the last thing you want to do as we pivot out of this is compound it with a young quarterback. I've been getting a lot of pushback on, I don't say that as like a great thing, but like, why would you want to drop a a bomb of a 23-year-old quarterback who's never played in the league on top of everything else that Mike LaFleur has to deal with this year without any track record.
He's
not Clint Kubiak. He didn't just win
the
a
right
Super
one.
Bowl. So when it comes down to it, this would be lunacy. But if it happens and it works, that's also saying if Jamil and I, wrestle, like I have a 0.1% chance. Maybe you get a bee that Ben shoots into your eye from, 100 yards away where I can beat you. It's still a chance, but this isn't, the bad news bears, dude. This is real life, and this probably isn't going to work.
Clancy, if we were wrestling, sorry, Ben. Clancy, if we were wrestling and Ben was nearby, I'd just go straight for Ben.
I was hoping you'd say that.
I wanted to
set it up.
Whatever you're doing.
Yes.
You could still try to take me down.
Yes.
I'm going after that guy right
and
there.
I'll just immediately start recording, and we'll just send it to Backyard Brawls or whatever that used to be.
Yeah. Viewer discretion advised.
That was what I was going to go with, Clancy. I was actually going to do kind of a cross sport reference here with, me covering the Phoenix Suns. Is in the offseason, they had gotten Jalen Green, and there was the talk of, well, should they go get Jonathan Kuminga too? And the reasoning why I said no was you've already got to figure out one major thing in making an inefficient player more efficient and fit with this roster with a rookie head coach. It is far too much to throw yet another player who didn't work somewhere else on a championship team that's kind of a castaway to make him fit here with a first-time head coach. Whether he believes, more than anyone else in Ty Simpson that it's going to work, I'm not trying to insult his football acumen. But I think at that point, it's, what is it? You got a little too much dip on your chip. At that point, that's what I think it would be for Mike LaFleur. Yeah. It's too much at one time to feel like you want to bank your whole career on this guy. And I think Mike knows that. I think next year there'll be another Ty Simpson. So,
and we quite literally got out of the cycle where the Cardinals did this last time with Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. Quite literally. And the first thing that people come out of Ty Simpson's mind, well, he's not the tallest guy. Hey, let's move on.
That's crazy.
First thing that comes out of every pundit's mind, well, he's not the tallest guy, but he's good. You know what? Let's go for a 6'3", 6'4" guy with the same arm. 6'1.5". Oh, Brock Purdy, last pick of the draft. What are we doing?
Yeah. And does anyone think, does anyone think Brock Purdy would be as successful without Kyle Shanahan? He might be successful, but would he work on the Cardinals? There's some concerns there.
I think the answer is also Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams with both.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just was trying to end the segment a little bit quicker. I figured people do that. Okay. Outside chance of drafting other position groups. Kind of a play on what we talked about the other day, plus some other more draft talk. Let's talk about that. Let's do it next. Today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at Home Chef. This time of year where all you really want is something warm, easy, and satisfying. That's why Home Chef has become such a go-to. It takes the stress out of dinner and makes it simple to actually enjoy cooking again. Home Chef makes cooking easy with fresh, pre-proportioned ingredients, simple recipes, and meals that taste great. Meals are quick, from 30-minute recipes to open-ready options when you don't and makes you don't have to think. Tons of variety, over 30 meals each week, so it feels repetitive. The quality is legit. Even chef-inspired recipes from guys like Gordon Ramsay and other popular chefs, and everything portioned out so there's less prep and cleanup. It just makes dinner feel manageable even on the busiest days. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/lockedonnfl. That's homechef.com/lockedonnfl for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. All right, keeping the show rolling. This is kind of something that Clancy threw it out there, but kind of inspired by a tweet he put out, that the Cardinals could potentially be going after other position groups that we kind of saw that were strengths already on this team, but even more so that you can supplement through the draft like we saw the Rams do. Clancy, I'll let you take the floor on this one.
So there's one that I just wanted to kind of broach the topic of, and it's tight end. Okay, so just go with me here. Oh, they've got 3 tight ends on the roster. I know. We know. We know they do. Trey McBride's one of the best tight ends in football. We know. Tip Ryman is a glorified offensive lineman. Okay, he was brought in to be a blocking tight end. He's not going to run any routes. Elijah Higgins, who has had some flash plays over the time, like he had that one sliding catch in the back of the end zone against the Rams when Kyler Murray did the Steph Curry spin move 2 years ago, the no look. If Elijah Higgins was a guy that could be on the field a lot, we would have seen it already. I know he's a guy who's transitioned from wide receiver to tight end. They love him. If you're looking at a tight end in the third round who maybe dipped a little bit in Mike LaFleur / Sean McVay's offense, they eat with tight ends. Like they had 3 guys, Tyler Higbee, Colby Parkinson, and Terrence Ferguson, who looked like a reach for them last year as a rookie. They all ate as a trio. And if you don't know what you're getting with Marv and you want as many pieces as possible on the offensive side of the ball, it would only unlock this offense more. It seems like overkill, but to reach on a defensive tackle because you need it, or to have a tight end fall into your lap in the 3rd or even 4th round, I think it's something to look into, even though it seems like overkill. Is that crazy?
No, I don't think it sounds like overkill at all. Listen, I wouldn't be mad about a defensive tackle because I truly think that this whole outside chance for the Cardinals, like they're like, I don't think there's going to be any picks that they can just waste, right? Like they need a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the tight end thing makes a lot of sense. Like you said, within this offense, they are the biggest advocates for running 13 personnel. We've seen that with the Rams. There was always, 1 back, 3 tight ends on the field. That's just how they get down. It's how you get a lot of mismatches on the field because you got to match personnel from a defensive standpoint. And if you have tight ends that can stretch the field, it just gives you a little bit more of the ability to run the ball as well as pass the ball when you have guys that can run routes. And so I don't think it's far-fetched at all. I think within this offense, you need tight ends that can play in different down situations. So I don't think Mike LaFleur is going to take that lightly. I think that's a real possibility, but I would not be mad about a D tackle, especially, if we are talking Ty Simpson still going at number 3.
So let's remove that from this conversation. Like because if we're looking at O-line and edge rush like one or the other.
Okay. I still think you need a D tackle. I think
you need a couple of them.
Yeah. I think you are absolutely one of the thinnest teams in terms of
it's just Nolan
D tackle. Yeah. And
you can't there's no Campbell. You can't trust Darius Robinson. It's Roy Lopez right now.
Exactly.
And who's really good for the
Dante
Stills there. Yeah. There you go. So you got 3 guys. I think you can trust. Roy Lopez didn't seem to be a household name over the Lions, but he was good here with the Cardinals.
Yeah. I don't know about trust. I need disruptive. Like to me, you don't get by with, D tackles that you can trust. I need disruptors. I need guys that are, because my edge rush isn't as, potent as I would love it to be. I need guys that are going to tear up the interior of the pocket and hold the point of attack. So, if that comes from a rookie who is young and hungry and ready to go, that's what I need. I don't need, I'd rather take a rookie who's disruptive that is going to make a few mistakes as opposed to an older guy who no twitch and is just going to hold the point of attack. That's not going to get me the TFLs that I need to be efficient on defense.
That's right.
Clancy, I don't disagree with you. I mean, you've mentioned some of the guys that the Rams have. I don't think it's a bad take. It just seems like that's a take that the Rams get to have, because the Rams, like, they solved their cornerback needs with McDuffie and the other kid from the Chiefs. They've got one of the better linebacking cores. Their pass rush is good enough to win games. Like, they have the right to be like, hey, let's take this guy here. And if the exact scenario happens in the 3rd round where someone that is just really talented for some reason is falling, there's an argument to make that there's always best player available over position of need. Just with the amount of holes the Cardinals have in terms of depth at multiple positions and premium positions, it just doesn't feel like you can go there. So defensive tackle, linebacker, like one of the things that Jamil's talking about is disruptors in the interior of the pass rush. Not against that at all. But I don't know how to say, I don't know. It just feels like, and it's a defense. It's an NFL defense. They're obviously insanely athletic. I don't know if I have a lot of, and this is hashtag analysis, ballers back there. Like when I talk about the Seattle Seahawks defense, they are swarming. Ball gets there, there's 8 guys tackled. Like it is a athletic, twitchy defense. I feel like I've got a lot of dudes that we're just going to play a lot of zone in. We're not really interested in zero blitz, press at the line, and push dudes around. Like if I'm interested in something like different, I want a backer that is kind of like you talked about, the Dan Buchanan, not really Tyrann Mathieu, but that type of player who's always around the ball, disruptors. I don't know if they have the bandwidth right now to like, let's supplement the tight end room more.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, I understand the pushback for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to go into it regardless, looking at this as a 2-year thing, and it sucks, and it shouldn't be. It sucks that we're here. That shouldn't be here, but this is where we are. This is a world in which we live watching this team, and that's what it's going to be. You've got to stop the bleeding is what this draft is. That's what it is. So the tight end thing, I completely understand. If we were going to talk outside the room when it comes to Mike LaFleur, maybe do that next year. The defensive, the defensive front, pass rush, offensive line, and you probably need another safety, and you may need another corner depending on if those guys can come back and like if the cornerback room comes in and gels and they're children. I mean, these guys are all very, very young from an NFL standpoint. They're going to be set for 5 years. They're going to have to decide who they want to give contract extensions to. The front is problematic, and especially with Nick Rallis, and this is going to be his last year if things don't turn around or show any sort of significant improvement. You just can't fix everything. So you have to determine, what do you want your strengths to be? They don't have any right now outside of tight end. They have 0 bona fide strengths. So what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be your offensive line? Cool, draft 2 of them. You want it to be your pass rush? Cool, draft 2 of them. If your offensive line sucks this year, at least you have a pass rush that's a strength.
What
that's
do you
going to
think
be the delineation between their path. Jamil, would you be, so say they draft 2 pass rushers at 3 and 34. Say somebody drops to them and it's like, okay, they punt on the offensive line position. It's going to be Elijah Wilkinson at right tackle, some form or fashion of Kelvin Beachum, whatever it is. Isn't that better than hedging 2 positions and not really getting better at either, even though we're both offensive line guys? Or no?
I mean, yes. But again, it's so hard for me to go against it or go with that because of how I've seen the trend of the league in terms of teams that consistently address the offensive line have better years. And so while, we know getting after the passer and having these edge rushers and things is important, the way to combat that, for that a lot of teams have already done it, is to bolster your offensive line. And listen, literally all the teams that had success last year made moves for their offensive line, and we saw it clear in the Super Bowl. Not to say that, teams, we know the Patriots drafted an offensive lineman in Will Campbell in the first round, but they had 2 rookies paired next to each other, and we saw what that looked like. I do want to say, I think the Cardinals need to be doing their homework on Christian Wilkins for sure. Like I hate to speculate about it, but like that is a guy that is out there that we obviously, made headlines for whatever the case was with the Raiders. But that's a defensive tackle that prior to getting paid was one of the better ones in the league and really productive and disruptive. And I think if you do your homework there, now you can kind of deviate the draft a little better in terms of you don't need to draft a defensive tackle in the 3rd round. You pair Walter Nolan and Christian Wilkins together. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Like, that is a great problem to have.
Yeah, and I've said this about the Cardinals forever. It's like, on the offseason when Odell Beckham Jr. was a free agent before he signed with the Rams, and these guys are problem guys. The Cardinals, again, quite literally cannot afford to pick and choose. This isn't Antonio Brown after his feet fell off in the cryo chamber. Okay, this isn't that. Christian Wilkins had an altercation, whatever. Before that, there was nothing. So this isn't like the Cardinals aren't too. They're not
Chandler
too
Jones
good for anybody.
Chandler Jones had an incident with the Raiders too.
With the Raiders, there's something in the water there, man. You can get him for pennies on the dollar. He's 30 years old. He could play another 5 seasons if there's any sort of indicator from what he was before he went to the Raiders.
For sure.
Like, I agree with you on that. Again, it would be a Hail Mary kind of thing, but sweet mother, it could pay off.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals look like geniuses.
So Clancy's not the only one taking a swing on because I actually do believe this. I'm not just saying it to make Clancy feel better. But, talking about the tight end room, which I don't think is a hot take, but it's a controversial take. And you want to talk about like the strengths of this team. What's like the easiest thing to make your strength quickly? Your running back room. I still think the Cardinals are going to take a running back in this draft because 1, I'm not sure how much they trust Trey Benson. 2, James Conner is getting older and might have one specific role for this team. And 3, they might just have PTSD from the running back room all falling apart last year because it's not like 1 went down or 2 went down. At one point, they were down their top 3 running backs and running it out there with Bam Knight. And Michael Carter. So I think there's an outside chance they take a
running backs, dude. That's a 2027 thing.
They got a lot of tight ends too.
Yeah, but that's not. Tip Ryman's not a tight end. Elijah Higgins hasn't shown yet. If I'm saying all I meant was if there's a stud that drops, this offense can facilitate it. This offense can implement another dude running routes with Trey McBride. It's not going to be an Aaron Hernandez and Gronk thing because they had Julian Edelman and that was about it. Did they have Randy Moss? They do. I probably had Randy Moss, but
both.
They probably did. But
Moss was on that team. Sorry, I think so. Locked on Patriots.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm not comparing Aaron Hernandez to really anything, but like. This is, you got to think this is a big boy offense now, or what it's set to be. This is supposed to be an NFL offense. Enter the fray, Arizona Cardinals. Now you have one. You can utilize more than one tight end for, a fringe 3rd or 4th round pick if that's the best player available.
I'm sorry. I just read a funny comment in the comment section. We are, this is going to be my favorite segment because there's a lot of smoke screening. And I think it's nice to remind everyone about this Cardinals team and how the reporting kind of goes. What can we actually believe from reports, mock drafts, people doing hits on television? What is peddling for agents and their clients? And what is actual real deal? Oh, this guy could be an Arizona Cardinal. Let's talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inboxes overflowing, and the one position you have is to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on, you need the right hire. This is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. What can we believe? It feels like, debating how you feel. The people who want Ty Simpson here, the people who don't want Ty Simpson here, the people who want Reuben Bane Jr., the people who don't want Reuben Bane Jr. here. It is I've seen, I think it was Benjamin Albright, link David Bailey to the Arizona Cardinals. Clancy, you've been covering this team the longest out of the 3 people on the panel. So I'll let you take the seniority here.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Gives you permission.
Dang. I'm going to shoot a bee into your eye, Benjamin.
What can you actually, what do you, when you plan your show, your everyday Locked On Cardinals show, and you see reporting, what are you like, oh, okay, I can take this. And what is it like? Okay, it's a mock draft from Charles Davis. I don't understand it.
Nothing. Like right now, nothing. Because I mean, we talked about this around the Kyler Murray stuff. National media doesn't pay attention to the Cardinals. It's like they have a paper that's due at midnight, and they, drink some coffee at 11:15 and try to knock out, 1,000 words by midnight. And that's not saying that they're lazy or not informed or anything like that. That's not a knock on them at all. The Cardinals have been irrelevant, so there's no reason to. Like they can allocate their resources to other things. With mock drafts, because again, Trevor Sigma, one of my good buddies, who the head of NFL over Pro Football Focus, they made him and Connor Rogers do. They have their NFL stock exchange. That's what they live off of is these mock drafts and giving different scenarios and explaining why they made their draft picks. In this draft specifically, there's no consensus anything after Fernando Mendoza at 1. So it compounds everything. It gives people a lot more flexibility to make these grandiose thoughts and things like that. The Cardinals have no plan that's public. So how the hell are we supposed to know what's going on? Like, it's not like, hey, they need a quarterback. Hey, there's going to be 3 quarterbacks in a row, and this is going to be one of them, and they're going to draft him. We have no idea what the hell is going to happen. All we can do is kind of read the tea leaves, and the tea leaves aren't going to become real until like 2 weeks from now. So when I do my show, I talk about possibilities. I talk about potential. I talk about what happens if this happens. But by and large, it's like they're going to have an incomplete roster regardless of what they do with 3. So it's not just a matter of 3. It's a matter of the entire, 3, 4, 5 first, their first 4 or 5 picks. Jamil, is that?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it, Jamil.
Look, I think between all of our conversations and what I've been saying, like it is tough, right? Because the Cardinals don't get the national media attention, and so there is no hint in terms of this is all just speculation. But I just feel like regardless of who they take at 3, there's going to be an unhappy group of people, and it's going to be it's going to be split in half. There's I think, and I don't want to say this wrong, but I think the logical pick is to either go pass rusher and offensive line, with offensive line being the main priority first, and then you kind of deviate towards pass rushing. But I think regardless of whoever is picked, there's going to be an unhappy group because you could say this is a quarterback needy team. They need a quarterback. It's a weak quarterback draft, but Ty Simpson seems to be climbing up the ranks. And so if they take a quarterback, there's going to be people that say they need an offensive line. If they take offensive line, they're going to say, oh, we should have took Reuben Bane Jr. So it's a tough position for the Cardinals to be in at number 3. And I keep saying this, they just can't afford to miss. Whatever you do, regardless of who's happy and who's unhappy, this pick has to hit it on the head in terms of production moving forward. And I think, obviously, as they continue to grow throughout their career, you kind of silence the haters in terms of who's upset at the pick. But the Cardinals are in a position where they have to nail this at number 3.
So that's it. I'll try to add to a little bit what Clancy was saying, and I promise there's a lot of the people in the Arizona sports market space, because it's kind of a smaller market, cover a multitude of different teams. So I'm at mostly every Suns game. And a lot of the people that cover the Cardinals also cover the Suns. And when I have a question, I can pick the brain of people who are, I won't name any names, but are really dialed in. Like, I ask these people directly because I know that they know better than I do. And I was told that the Cardinals keep it so tight, the lid's so tight on everything right now, because one of the reasons was they're not thrilled with the optics that the media has been kind of taking a sledgehammer to them over the last couple of weeks. So I say all this.
Heaven forbid we tell the truth about what's happening.
I can tell you after the show who told me this. This person knows.
Tell us now. Tell us now.
I will not throw that person under the bus. But they were like, even I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on, because they're pissed because everyone is taking a sledgehammer to them. And so they're not letting anything leak. I say all this to say, if those people are in the dark You're telling me the national media that pay no attention to the Arizona Cardinals know better than the people that are in the locker rooms every single day? I just don't buy it. Like, we were all led to believe, even like I think Clancy, who did not want this to happen, and Jamil, for the most part, did not want this to happen. I think we were all led to believe like Malik Willis is going to be the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. Jeremy Fowler wrote a story of the prediction market. Yeah, he's going to go to the Cardinals. Tony Pelini put out a thing. Yeah, the talk is he's going to go to the Arizona Cardinals. Jeremy Fowler just put out something when speaking with people around the league about Ty Simpson, the Cardinals come up a lot. I quote tweeted that by saying, Jeremy Fowler predicted the Arizona Cardinals to land Malik Willis. Nothing against him, but if it's anything, if we know anything, it's that no one knows anything. So it matters until it doesn't. Like, remember Pat McAfee show? I think it was Daniel Jeremiah that went on and said, I think Jeremiah Love can go as soon as 3 to the Arizona Cardinals. And then that ended quickly when it wasn't a buzzword. I think right now the Arizona Cardinals, and I don't like to use this word a lot because I really like to talk about all things ideas when it comes to sports and takes. I don't like to shun anyone's opinions to the side as long as they have an actual reasoning behind it. But I think like when you talk about the Charles Davis thing, the hell is the Charles Davis respectfully know about the Arizona Cardinals? I think sometimes it's easy to put there and it's a bit of engagement farming and clicks, and then they take the rest of the draft seriously.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's also
that's where
like,
I'll land.
But the problem with all of this is if he's good, it's the right pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if everybody thinks he's good, no, I'm not saying I would take him because I don't think he's good. I don't think he's worth it. But
Yeah, I agree.
If people around the draft circles and people who scout for a living and do these things think he's the guy, then it would be the right pick for the Cardinals. That's where the splitting hairs is. If you don't believe it is, I don't believe it is. So I don't think it'd be the right pick. But if all of the conventional wisdom would lead you to think that he's good enough to go top 3, then the Cardinals have to take him. Right? If this was a no doubt about it guy, you're taking a quarterback at 3.
I mean, you're taking him 2. You're taking him 1.
Yeah.
The problem was he wasn't the number 2 quarterback until Dante Moore went back.
Well, he was looked at it to be the first quarterback until Fernando Mendoza went on a run and won the national championship. Through 8 weeks,
for a couple of weeks,
football, he was looked at as the belle of the ball, and then completely fell off. He's going to be a Mitchell Trubisky if he doesn't sit. I mean, he said 15 games, same thing. But yes,
Mitchell. That's a really good point to put out.
Trubisky actually played 13.
No,
in North Carolina.
It was you had it right the first time. This is from Dane Brugler. Quarterbacks you're right. Quarterbacks with 15 or fewer college starts who went in the first round over the last decade.
Anthony Richardson,
Mitchell Trubisky, and then Dwayne Haskins, RIP.
Yeah.
Those 3 guys.
And Dwayne Haskins was on the heel of a national championship run. You know, like it's not the right call. But if the Cardinals signify it as this is their guy, and it doesn't matter what happens next year, they have to take him at 3. He's not going to get to 34. If he sees that, and that's the stark reality of all this, is like, if they believe in-house that he's their guy, he's going at 3.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you take him at 3, man, I just have a plan. You know, like we're in this age now where a guy gets his starting chance. We know that there's going to be growing pains. We've seen it from every Alabama quarterback in terms of processing what the NFL is. You're going to have to be patient. You know, he's 15 games into his football career, and that's the reality of it. Like this is not going to be an easy year for this guy. Pick that number 3, regardless of if you sit him and he plays next year. That's like the JJ McCarthy effect, right? Like his second year in the league is his first year starting. Like it's just different. And so this is a long-term plan, and you're going to have to kind of cater to that. And you're a first-time head coach calling the plays. So
I agree with you. No,
there's a lot of factors.
Nauseating.
Yeah,
it's nauseating.
It's a lot of
but
factors.
If it works, the Cardinals can win a Super Bowl in 3 years and 4 years. True.
Well,
if it works, they're going to have a rookie scale contract before they have $180 million to spend and all of their draft capital. Like, if you want to sell the dream, that's the only dream you can sell right now. Chances are it's a 0.0 repeating times 100, 1% chance it'll work.
Well, Sorry
I'm
to bring it to
scared.
you guys.
I'm
Monty
scared.
Austin Fort was at ASU Pro Days today, and he's checking out Cardinal. He's checking out. Well, no, now it's Cutter. Now it's Cutter that we're going to take as the first round quarterback next year. So, anyways,
yeah, who's Sam Levitt? Who is that?
Yeah, we don't even like that. No one even likes him, Clancy. That was all you.
So ASU,
I think
guys. That's so ASU of you.
So ASU.
So ASU.
All right. Well, how's that for an hour filled? How's that for an hour filled? There was jokes, there was laughter, there was Jamil not threatening me but promising he
Patches
will
O'Houlihan
end
made
me.
an appearance.
He doesn't know who that
He
is.
goes, I don't care. I'm gonna keep giving him movie references until he watches.
So I did this. Did you see how I just smile and wave? Anyways, good talk, guys. If you guys want to join us next week, Tuesday, 4 p.m., we'll talk about, I'm sure, the next nonsense story of the Arizona Cardinals at 3, and we'll either debunk it or, maybe we'll come to some middle ground. With that being said, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow us on all social media platforms down in the episode description below. Appreciate you guys tuning in. For Jamil, Clancy, myself, it's been the Cardinal Squad Show. See you guys next Tuesday at 4 p.m.